Today, I'm going to give you a sneak preview of what? Of my new book coming out in time for 9/11, this year's anniversary. It's called Lions and Tigers and Terrorists, Oh My, How to Protect Your Child in a Time of Terror. And it's for parents and teachers and kids. Kids, you may be thinking, what? Kids? I don't want to talk to my kids about terrorism. Well, none of us do, but actually in this 21st century, the time has come. Terrorism is taboo, like sex, but it has to be talked. You know, parents always had to have the talk about the birds and the bees. Well, now you not only have to have that talk, but also the talk about terrorism. I mean, think about it. When you were a kid and you saw a sex scene in a movie, or in a magazine, naked bodies in a magazine, or television, or something, and you were curious, and you were confused, and you wanted to ask your parents about it. Well, what kind of message did you get? Either they subtly gave you the message that no, this is not something they want to talk about with you now, or they said it in so many words. Well, that's kind of like the message that a lot of kids are getting about terrorism, like when parents jump up and turn off the television when news comes on about a terrorist attack. Well, you're leaving your kids feeling confused, curious. They may ask their friends who will give them the wrong information. Wouldn't you want to be the person to present this topic to them in a gentle, sensitive way? You know your child best. It's better that you present it than someone on television gives them the news, just in a very harsh form like the news. So that's what this book is for. It gives parents and teachers a way to present terrorism to kids in a very gentle kind of way that doesn't make them scared, doesn't scare the pants off of them. And here's the sneak peek. In the parents section, the first half of the book is for parents and teachers and any kind of grown-ups who would like to talk, who cares about kids and would like to talk to kids about it. And some of the things that I cover in this first half are questions to ask yourself, things to ask yourself about your feelings about terrorism, so that when you talk to your kids, you can present yourself honestly. Because otherwise, kids pick up on the fact of how you're really feeling, even though you may try to pretend to them that you're not feeling this way, or that this is something that you never even think about. I also talk about how to tell if your child is being affected psychologically, whether they're feeling scared or mad, or how the news and how whatever it is that they've been exposed to about terrorism, how it's affecting them, and how to tell when you need to get professional help, or whether the book alone will be enough with your talking to them in the way that you can, will be enough to calm them and make them feel prepared. Then I also give you 88 ways to raise happy, healthy kids in a time of terror. Things that you can do each week to incorporate in your lifestyle each week that will help your kids feel more, feel better, feel more empowered in this time. And all kinds of other things. I also provide you with typical questions and answers that kids would have about terrorism. Now, you can change this to fit your own personality or to fit what you would like to tell them yourself, but here you have answers provided to the most common questions that kids are likely to ask you. So the basic question is, will something bad happen to me? That's what they want to know. So you could tell them, I would love to be able to promise that nothing bad will ever happen to you, but I will always tell you the truth, so I cannot promise this. In a way, something bad has already happened to all of us, because we share the sadness of the families who have had loved ones killed or injured by the bad people called terrorists. But we can learn so much from what happened. We can learn to appreciate things we didn't pay attention to before, like how much we love each other, how beautiful our city is, what wonderful friends we have, and so many other things. So that's one example of what you can say. You can add to it, you can take away from it, it just gives you a guideline. Now let me tell you about the kids part. The kids part is a picture book. It has pictures that will answer their questions, talk to them about things like, what is a terrorist? Why do terrorists want to hurt us? What can we do to empower ourselves? And I give 10 things that kids can do to incorporate in their daily life. I'm not talking about things like put duct tape on your window. I'm talking about things, a lifestyle that they can adopt that will inherently make them safer and more empowered and feel more prepared if a terrorist attack happens, or if they just hear about one on the television. They don't have to go into that frightened state. So even though none of us ever dreamed about having to talk to our kids about terrorism, the birds and the bees talk is enough, but don't let terrorism be taboo like sex. You have to have the birds and the bees talk about terrorism. And you need to give them this gentle introduction before they're confronted with a scary introduction by somebody else, by the television, by something that comes up, rather than them sitting down with you in a quiet, calm place and way to learn about it in bits and pieces. I talk about that, how you need to not, read the whole book with them at once, but to give it to them in little bits and pieces according to how, with their age and how emotionally mature they are, and other things that I talk about for how to guide you for how you share this with them. So this book is coming out at the beginning of September. You can go to my publisher's website, and for right now, before the beginning of September, it'll be in stores wherever books are sold, and of course online, Barnes & Noble and Amazon and all of that. But in the meantime, you can go to this website and put in your name and email address, and you will be alerted, be one of the first ones to know, to be able to get it. And that website address is www.terrorism for kids. www.terrorism4kids.com. So also, if you'd like to find out more about terrorism in general, I have more of these vlogs and podcasts and so on, information from media interviews that I did on my own website, which is www.terroristtherapist.com. terroristtherapist.com. Now, I'm your terrorist therapist. I'm a psychiatrist, so all of this information has been brought to you with that kind of perspective in mind.